Hi guys, this is Tea Talk Time by Talent Africa. My name is Kariuki, and with me are amazing guests that happen to be also artists, and we'll be having them on the panel today. Wasana. We try and get to know them a little bit better. Maybe we can start with from my near left. So our artists are going to tell us about how they speak for the queer community and using what they do. Yeah, and I'll start with my near left. So maybe you can tell us what you do. Yeah.
My name is Joy Wanga. I represent visual artists in Kisumu through an organization called Locha Gallery.
Oh, nice.
Hi. My name is Pesh, aka King Pesh, aka CEO at the Girl Boss Aromatics, which is a business, a perfume company, and I am a poet, a human rights defender, and yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Hello.
Hi.
I am Sharon Warinda, and I am an actress and an activist.
Nice,
Yes,
nice.
I'm a queer activist.
Now we have gotten to know our guest. Now let's jump right in, into the business of the day. Maybe you guys have heard about the Ugandan bill. Muhammad Ali, the MP for Nyali constituency, also presented a bill. We have Peter Kaloma, also presented another bill. Things to do with the queer community. Maybe we can just get a thought here and there about what you guys think. So maybe we can start with you, Marinda.
I'll speak on Muhammad Ali's bill because it affects the media.
Okay.
And I am a communication student. I'm in the media field, and this affects the media because if now you are trying to tell the media on what to do and what not to post and what not to publish, then we call that media gagging, and we say that you're putting the media on a chokehold because
So that means you don't think the media is independent, maybe so far?
That in Anyanganya media their independence.
Yeah.
Their independence. Because also it also affects the stories that are supposed to be out there. The stories, the queer stories that are supposed to be out there. If queer persons are being hurt, if they are being harmed, and if they are being murdered, being killed, then that means people will not know about these stories. And when people don't know about these stories, then they think that, well, queer people do not exist.
Yeah, and
Then
knowledge
that's
is power.
Exactly, knowledge is power. That erases queer narratives. That erases a lot of things. Also, when we're talking about freedom of the media, we are also looking at how the politics and the politics around it, how the government has been controlling what the media publishes. Outside the topic kidogo, if we remember when Raila was being sworn in by the public, there's the media, those Citizen, NTV and KTN were shut down, like they were shut off immediately, like abruptly. And that just shows how politics is monopolizing the media around in Kenya. Yeah.
Nice. So maybe Pesh.
Okay, and that even reminds me that I'm really angry right now because there is even a collection, a movement of activists calling themselves the Citizen Go. The Catholic activists who are like standing strong to support the Nyali. The Nyali bill. Well, that was a digress. I wanted to talk about the Kalima bill because speaking as a queer activist who've like my greatest achievement has been like part of working with and for the queer community.
Yeah.
I am really angry because number one, the bill talks about banning the LGBTQ community, the banning of comprehensive sexual education, and just a lot of bullshit in general. Yes. Yes. And so I feel like, first of all, in Kenya, being queer is illegal. And the fact that you are a queer also makes you vulnerable. Now look at you are already vulnerable, and then there is also a bill that is going to add on to your vulnerability to make it even worse.
You are being killed twice.
Yes. So that is very wrong. I got really mad because number one, what is even Kaluma trying to like gain? Because if you talk about banning sexual the education. We are going, look at a generation that we are going to raise children who do not like see sexual assault when it is even on their faces. Like they will not be able to tell this is a sexual assault, this is wrong. And these are the same people that who like they'll be out here saying how people are committing suicide, people are mental health is on the rise, but they do not know that they are the ones who like clicked on that button to go commit suicide because I am here to make sure that you are dead.
I think just to add on Pesha's point, and also just to take part into to add a bit of information into all this is when we're banning the media and we're preventing education. Education is basically a form of passing information. Media is also a form of passing information. Now, as we all know, knowledge is power. So if we do not have that knowledge, we cannot take the necessary actions to prevent certain injustices like murder and all this abuse that we've been seeing around. In cases of it's been a year since Sheila Lumumba passed, and as we honor her, if we are preventing the media from airing these stories, then it means that justice can't be served for such instances. Justice can't be sought after, and that is just wrong. If we look at communications, I would look for Marinda to publish stories about visual artists in the queer community. But if she has been gagged by the media from expressing the stories, from showcasing it and publishing it, then it means even for me as a visual artist and for my visual artists that I represent, the stories cannot be told.
Nice insights. Maybe we can go through the parliament, antisexual penalties that were released in Uganda, and maybe some of them are such as persons convicted of aggravated homosexuality, the penalty is death. Persons who commit the offense of homosexuality, the penalty is 20 years. There's just like 9 of them. Maybe I'll just go maybe the eighth from the list. A child found guilty of homosexuality, the penalty is 3 years. Sorry. And this one really got to me. Persons recruiting children into homosexuality, 20 years. So maybe as an artist, what do you think this says about the queer community and maybe even the society around the queer community? Maybe Marinda or anyone wants to go first.
This is personal, on a personal level. I want to sit down with the people, the MPs of Uganda that came up with the bill. Because when you say recruiting, recruiting is a very
specific.
It's a very ambiguous word. When we talk about recruitment, we can talk about recruiting gang members. We can talk about recruiting
terrorists.
But when we talk about homosexuality, then how
is that
the
supposed to
children being
happen?
recruited? How is it happening?
What would be the procedures of recruitment be? Where do we sign up? Where
And
do we not?
actually, it paints the picture of, queer people being pedophiles, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And as you said, when we talk about pedophilia, it's in Uganda. The way I've come to understand the bill being presented, that they are presenting this bill in the form of homosexual members of the community are pedophiles.
Yes.
Pedophiles.
That reminded me of the point I wanted to say. When they talk about recruiting, as a person, a human being who's worked with the queer community, I wouldn't be in my right mind and still talk about recruitment, because if, for instance, I say like a gay person walks past me, and then that does not make me automatically gay. Plus, no one can just come to you and say, I need you to be gay for a month and I'm going to pay you some huge amount of money. That does not make sense. And with not everyone is like literate enough to know this, especially queer mothers who are like parents who are raising queer children. So when they see things like recruiting, that is where the point of being LGBTQ is demonic, is Illuminati. So when you go to your parent and you tell them, what, mommy, daddy, I am gay, they start praying the gay out of you, and they do not know what that brings to you as a human being, as a queer human being. They do not know what that does to your mental health. That is why you find most queer people, they are very depressed. Most of them even commit suicide, and it's due to the bullshit that is going on in the world, in Kenya, in Uganda right now.
If I can add, the reason why also they say that queer people or queer persons are rebellious, they do not, they hawajaokoka, it's because of that. It's because of the discrimination that you get when you enter the doors of the church. Like in the security, you begin with the security person, and they look at you and how you present yourself, and all of a sudden they start
being human.
Yeah, you stopped being human. When you enter in the doors in the church, the topic now becomes you. You now become the topic of discussion, or you now become the sermon. Exactly, you become the sermon. They start talking about how homosexuality is demonic, and they should come in front, and you should stop being a lesbian, and you will stop being gay if you receive Jesus Christ in your life. So that is why most queer persons are not going to church. That is because of the discrimination and the stigmatization that they face in churches.
Just to add on that, there's a quote I saw somewhere. I think one of the memes that we passed through social media, and it said that we left the church, but we did not leave God. Because most people would assume because you're not going to church for whatever reason, then you're not a Christian or a believer, whichever church it is you go, whether Catholic or Anglican. And yet, in this case, how do I go to church if that's where I'm gonna get the most criticism? That's where I'm gonna get the most trauma, because there is something right now that I know is called church trauma that I honestly didn't know even could happen. Like how are you supposed to? How do you get trauma from the place where it's represented as a safe haven for you?
Exactly, where you get salvation.
Exactly, where you're supposed to be your authentic self, and you can't because we're in Kenya. And the other thing that I think for me has just, since we're going personal, for the fact that these bills are allowing Kenyans to take the law into their own hands. and make judgments, to be judge, jury, and prosecutor over their fellow Kenyans. Yet, as far as I know, the Constitution has processes and protocols in which any matters law can be handled. So in the event where I see Mwarinda on the streets and she's wearing an LGBTQ representing t-shirt, and automatically me as a good citizen of Kenya, I decide, you know what, Mwarinda is a lesbian, or Mwarinda is trans, or whatever it is I decide to label her, and I arrest her. And in this case, we are not even giving the Kenyans the freedom to actually express themselves and know, and not like how do I put it? If I cannot walk safely in the streets, wearing whatever I want to wear, because I remember there was a time there was this my dress, my choice that trended, and somehow that was fine, but now I can't.
No, it's not.
I can't. Okay, let's assume my dress is long, inafika chini, lakini ni rainbow colored. That becomes an issue.
Well, it's contradicting.
You see, it's contradicting. You know, so we can be fighting for one thing and contradicting the same thing that we've been fighting for since time immemorial. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. Like, at the end of the day, I want to sit in my house and know that I am safe. But if these bills are passed, it means that somebody can walk into my house at any point and accuse me of whatever they feel they want to accuse me of. And that means my family is not safe. That means I am not safe. That means my visual artists are not safe in their workplace. So how does that make sense? Because I want it to make sense, but does it make sense?
Make it make sense.
Okay, I feel like this conversation can go on for hours, but maybe because we're running out of time, we need to conclude. And maybe we can conclude by maybe just giving us an insight on how you feel that all these bills affect you as an artist and all your artistic works. Maybe Mwarinda, you can start there. Okay. Briefly.
Yeah. We will try.
I'll try. In general, it affects freedom of expression. It affects freedom of the media. It affects the narrative that we are fighting so hard to be known by people around the world, live alone Kenya, live alone the continent. It affects me as an artist who fights, who works with and for the queer community to change the narrative that we're fighting to change this whole time, like since time immemorial. So yeah, I think that is, it affects my freedom, it affects our freedom. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So personally, I do not feel I do not know what the family protection bill is protecting, because number one,
bombastic point.
Children are getting defiled every day.
Yes, from
People are dying of hunger. Yeah, people are dying of hunger. So it is bullshit, like I said, and I'm still saying
again and again.
And because now it is here and it's going to affect us personally as an activist and as an artist. You know, as artists we always speak for people who cannot speak. Okay, so this is me expressing myself, talking on behalf of someone, and then again there is a bill that is saying I cannot publish my work, I cannot perform my work
as an activist,
and there is some queer human being out there, there is some trans human being out there waiting, who's at the verge of dying. You know, it's like one step away from tying that knot, and is just waiting for this peace of mind to just like to tell them you're not alone, you'll be okay. So I think that is going to limit, if the bill is passed, it's going to limit artists, and it is very wrong, because as human rights defenders, a lot is going to happen. Yes.
Well, for me, I think one, we need to rewrite the understanding of what human rights activism or human rights defenders means to the public, because in this case, these are human beings, and if we forget that they are human beings before they are queer, then all of us, ideally, if we're gonna go with victimizing them and saying this is sinful, if I decide I want to kill a queer person, am I not sinning? If we're gonna go the Christian way, am I not sinning? I'm passing judgment. That's also against the Bible, right?
Yeah.
But this is a free living human being. You know, at the end of the day, if these bills are passed, it prevents us from coexisting as humans, one. Two, for self-expression, there's so many cases, like Pesha said, there's so many suicide cases that are happening out here. There's so many mental health issues, depression, that we are trying to solve, that we are actively trying to tell people, yo, it's okay to not be okay, it's okay to reach out and ask for help. But once we're gagging the media, that means Pesha's poetry piece cannot reach that person out there. Her presentation cannot reach a family out there for them to know that, oh yeah, this has happened, I can reach out to so and so and get help. So when we do that, I personally cannot draw and I cannot represent my pieces in a free manner because it violates someone's feelings. Because in this case, I don't think this is about any right, it's not about any logical belief, it's more just ni feelings. Si feel ni kama ni poa, so I'm gonna pass this bill that's gonna affect the rest of people's lives because si feel ni kama ni poa. If we all decide to do things because of how we're feeling, then the world will be chaotic. You know what I mean?
And for your information, dear viewer, Kenya is a secular state. It is an unreligious state according to the constitution. So there is no way we are going to use our opinions, our Bible. We are going to quote Bible.
Or not the Quran.
Yes, to impose our opinions on other people.
Impose the laws.
Because even if I wonder, you know, which God is this that hates homosexuals but loves murderers? I mean,
or
it doesn't make sense.
Okay. Man, thank you very much. The conversation is amazing. Definitely going to get there, but because of time, we're going to have to stop at that. Maybe we can have you next time. Welcome again. And that was Tea Talk Time by Salanja Africa. Bye. See you next time. Subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yes.
Like, view, share, and also comment. And maybe you can actually tell us what you would like us to talk about next time. You know, in our next session. We will really appreciate your feedback. We love you. Yeah, bye.
Bye.